How do you keep up to date with industry software and services? With interviews and demonstrations to keep you informed and up to date, here is a great investment of your time. So be sure to catch every episode of the Techsplain series. And remember to hit like and subscribe.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Techsplain series. Once upon a time, when you ran a vacation rental, you rented a property, you welcomed the guests, and that was the cycle. Your revenue came from the rent, so bookings gave you an indication of your revenue. Well, those days are long gone, and with technology, you can now make so much more revenue. And don't let the word technology scare you. Today, it's possible and, in fact, easy to earn extra revenue from your property. And today, we'll learn about one of those ways. Today, my guest is Annie, who will explain to us what the host code can do.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I am Annie Sloan from the Host Co.
Hello, Annie. Thank you very, very much for joining me today.
Sure thing. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Annie, we're going to start off as per usual. Can you please tell us in one sentence, what does the Host Code do?
The Host Co enables hosts and property managers to offer upsells, everything from massage and chef to late checkout to on-site rentals and beyond. Offer those upsells directly at the time of booking with a digital mini market. And then we help fulfill those items throughout the guest stay.
Wow. Okay. So I'm a property manager and I would like to use the Host Co. When you say, okay, first of all, I'm assuming it's sort of like a Shopify shop where there are things in there that the guest can buy. Okay. So we'll come to that in a second. When you say when the guest books, how does the guest see the things that I have to upsell?
So let's say you're a host on a beautiful tropical island, right? They'll make it fun for everybody. Okay, tropical island. And you have a gorgeous property. When your guest books on any channel, if it's Airbnb, Booking, Priceline, Direct, when you send them your like confirmation message. Yeah. Hey, thanks for booking. We're so excited to have you stay. There's now a new part of that message, which is if you'd like to add any products or services to your stay, like massage, late checkout, it might be in your area, parking passes, check out our store. And that is a link. And that link is your specific mini market that is branded exactly to your listing. And we'll have the things that you as a property manager have said, you know what people always ask for, or you know what would be really helpful, at 1 a.m. I always get a call, hey, we ran out of firewood, we're 2 bottles of wine in, where do we buy extra firewood, right? Those kind of things. And then generally, most property managers share that link also 1 week before the stay. You're 1 week out. If you'd like to add anything to your stay, book now because things have a lead time. Often, property managers will also share that link during the stay. You can have signage with a QR code, but it's mostly the prior is really the big time for sales. And also, you can share just links to specific products. So when a guest asks for something, you can say, oh, it's right here. Or again, it's 11 p.m. You're out with your spouse at a bar and someone asks for a late checkout. Or if you're doing it, right, you can just send them the link via WhatsApp. You can text it. So it's just basically, it's basically a mini website that is attached to or a storefront to your listing.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the big headaches as a property manager is I want to offer massage and but I don't have time to be running around and finding who the local masseurs are and the florist and the birthday cake the bakers. You do that legwork, don't you?
Yeah. So how the Host Co started briefly is that I am a short-term rental host and my co-founder has a property management company in Joshua Tree, which is my absolute favorite place, right? But people ask these questions over and over again. If you have 8 listings, you got 8 questions a day. Where can we get a massage therapy? If it's in Joshua Tree, it's where do we do that sound bath? Where do we find a Reiki? All woo-woo stuff because it's Joshua Tree. So for us, a big part of what we were doing was we want to reduce these questions quite a bit, and because we're answering them over and over again. The second part of that is we're recommending the same services over and over again. So what we did at the host co is we have a 3-person vendor team that sources vendors, both nationwide in the US and then per city is the first part of it. And how we do that is we make sure they have cancellation policy, they have a business license, they have very good reviews, and then we add them to the store.
Mhm.
In the US and now in many parts of Europe, we use a bedrock of what's called national vendors. So we use the same people that your Hilton or Marriott uses. Because I think the big secret is that Hilton and Marriott are not actually running a spa, they're using contractors. Same thing with chefs. So we have a bedrock of national vendors, and then we start to build in certain areas vendors on top of that.
Mhm.
The interesting part is that 80% of the sales we see on the host co are host-owned products. This is not what we thought. We thought it was going to be all vendors that we were recommending. But it's turned out people go, oh, well, I want to do extra recycling pickup because I have a party destination and that's a problem and everyone wants it. I want to do a linen refresh. I want to do mid-state cleaning. Oh, we have campsites that will say, hey, we'll set up your fire fit city folk before you get there because the people on site want to make more money. On the back end of that, what happens is when a guest makes a request to any vendor, so if it's your extra recycling guy, or if it's our national spa and massage partners, what happens is it's a request. So your guest gets that store link maybe right when they book, and they go, "Ooh, look, we could do, it's our girls' weekend. Let's do massages for 4 and a chef's dinner for 8."
Mhm.
They say, "Great, we want to request this service at this time at this date. We're going to put down our credit card info."
Mhm.
And then we ping the vendor and say, "Can you do this thing on this time at this date for these people? If so, click yes, and we will then process all their information directly for you,
Mhm.
and we will process their credit card information."
Mhm.
So what we're doing is we're taking the property manager out of the equation, who previously was just texting 4 people
Mhm.
or texting you, the guest, the address or the person, and then your guest says, "Oh, wait, shoot, I have the wrong phone number for their phone number. Oh, what's their phone number again? Oh, they're
Yeah.
not open anymore." Like
Yeah.
the back and forth, because
Yeah.
people don't read guidebooks, as we all know. Like nobody wants to read in this day and age. They want to use their phone and click a button.
Mm.
So we've set up a system where the vendor is contacted immediately and seeing if they can do it. So we're also not guaranteeing any service.
Mhm.
A very good example of this would also be, hey, we live on an island and everyone has to use a golf cart. You can't drive on this island. It's $1,200 or whichever currency to rent the golf cart.
Mhm.
So if you're a property manager, man, you're answering that question every time, even though it's in your guidebook. You're giving them the info. You're kind of often hand-holding them right up to the door of the golf cart place. So instead of that, hey, click this button. It's going to send that golf cart company a ping to set this up. And what it's going to do for the property manager is it's going to give you a little bit of the revenue for
Mhm.
making a connection to those vendors.
Mhm. Great, great.
Yeah.
There's services. So there's local services. There are items that the property manager wants to offer.
Yeah.
And then there are, okay, so the thing is, so back to the firewood at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a complete luxury. But how does it get there? If someone wants a welcome basket or the firewood or groceries or something, how does it get there? Or is that part of the service?
So a bit of both. So if you have a listing that you generally do provide firewood,
Mm.
or you have firewood on site is often the case. You can give a little bit for free. What we always say is be hospitable. Better hospitality is always best. But when they run out of that free firewood, you probably have bundles set aside somewhere else. What the host co can do is it can lock that information. So your guests can only get the information about where to get that item after they've made their purchase. So they make a purchase, $25. On their receipt in big red letters, it says, "This item is in the garage under a tarp. Take 1 bundle," or, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Your
Yeah.
guest also signs a terms of service that says, I've agreed to take this amount. You also have their name and their credit card info, which is also great for rebooking, I will tell you, because you're getting all the emails of the people that are purchasing. But then on the back end, you can assign to that firewood purchase inventory management. So you can say, I got 10 bundles here. And when I'm down to 2, ping my firewood guy. So you can set a notification to your firewood guy, hey, we're down to 1 bundle, come and bring more and put it in the garage.
Mm.
And you don't have to do that work essentially anymore. And then tell your firewood guy, okay, invoice me like you probably do with other vendors. So you're just setting up a system where you're, again, taking yourself out of the equation for those little tasks. We see that for parking passes. If you got 8 condos and you've got 2 parking spots, we can say, I've got 2 per day. Your guest can pick a date. And you can say, oh, great, put your receipt in the front, in their car, and we can sell it out for you. So every day, if you got pool passes, if you got firewood, if you have another interesting one is beach keys, which I live in California. We don't have such a thing as beach keys because all the beaches are public. I know.
What are beach keys?
So beach keys are if the area to the beach is gated and you cannot access the beach without a beach key. I know.
Okay.
I know.
Heard of that before?
But yeah, I mean, I hadn't either, to be honest, but people they're going to the beach. Of course, they're going to lose your key.
Yeah.
Right? Or the thing that you need to give them. If there's something that people lose all the time for your rental, you can have more of those, but you can gate access to them and say, hey, the restocking fee for a beach key is $50, which you were already doing, but you're having your runner go out and drop off another beach key, right? So instead of that, or if they're always losing your beach towels and you need to say, well, you lost our beach towels, it's a $50 restocking fee, but we already have them on site because they need them. They can't, pool floaties is another good one. Everybody breaks your pool floaties, right? So having extra, but selling them because it's costing you. And those kinds of things are not things that your guests are thinking that they're going to get for free. So it is not a poor hospitality experience to say, oh, if you'd like to, we have some on site if you'd like to purchase more pool floaties.
Yeah, it's a convenience, actually.
Yeah.
They're not expecting it, but they can do it without leaving home. And they can buy a beach towel there without having to think, oh, God, where do we buy a beach towel in this location? Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're making money. It's funny because when we started the Host Co., it was because these issues were a pain in the bleep for us. The revenue is great, which I will talk about, but the decreasing guest questions and the improving of just those things where you're like, oh man, that's repetitive tasks that I have to do over and over again. If you can remove those with a store, fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. And a great guest experience too, that they can get whatever they want. I'm assuming it's on their phone or they can access it on their phone.
Yeah. It is mobile. So it's just, it's like an eBay site, essentially. You can send it to anybody. It's your website. It's optimized for mobile as well. So they can see everything there. The other part of it that's great to share at the time of booking in terms of better guest experience is it provides a differentiator for you to other listings. So you can talk about it in your booking. You can say, we connect to on-demand spa services. We have chefs available should you want. You can even have photos of that type of thing.
Yeah.
Guests are not expecting a chef to be free or a massage to be free, right? It's amenities. If you're listing amenities, those things should be free. But when you're saying we connect to on-demand ... we had a property manager that connected a mobile tattoo artist for the week of Coachella, which is legal. First of all, we had to make sure that was legal. But what that does is 3 months before Coachella, when you send out your direct booking email and you say, week of Coachella, on-demand mobile tattoo artist, everybody opens that email. Everybody opens that email. Or if you say, in Nice, we have a special, like a special chef for this season available.
Yeah.
He opens that email. If you say early bird, early in the season, 15% off on the villa, no one's going to open that. I mean, sure, if they're compelled, but they don't have, people book for the reasons of experience and memory
Yeah.
right? I mean, obviously they want high quality hospitality, but when you have a saturated market, what is your differentiator? If you're sending things saying, and hotels know this, they do this all the time, right? Like, oh, we have this pop-up chef, or limited time only, we have special, I don't know, blankets or whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh, no, I think that's great. So,
Yeah.
in fact, the services are not delivered. They are actually, you have to keep them, you have to have them on site. They're just gated. Or is that the term is?
So yeah, for products that you have on site, just
Yeah,
have them gated.
yeah,
For things like obviously mid-stay clean, alterations, which you can also do with your certain alterations you can do with your PMS, like early check-in, late checkout. But
yeah.
if you're doing spa heating, extra pet, extra
Yeah.
guest, we have
No,
lots of different alterations.
I'm just more wondering about whether the guest ever needs to put the address of the property in. They do?
So they do not,
Cool.
because
Okay.
that creates some friction of slowing
Exactly.
people down from purchasing, right?
Yeah,
If you are purchasing something and you have to go check your email, bad experience, right?
yeah.
So what we do is we get the address of the listing when the store is created. So we
Mhm.
on the back end have that, and we can share that with the vendor. We don't share it with your guest.
Yeah,
We can, and we get that address. You can connect directly to Airbnb or quite a few different PMS and say, I've got 10 listings, make me 10 stores.
yeah,
And it will automatically pull in the name of your listing, the photo of your listing, the address of your listing, zip code. And that's how we add suggested vendors to your area, is your zip code. And then
yeah,
you have a list of 10 stores and go, oh, okay, cool. I have 10 stores. And we do not release the information for that address until it's been approved. So,
yeah,
and you also are, as a property manager, you're in total control of which vendors. It's not like you
yeah,
have to use any vendors, right?
yeah. No, I was actually wondering because when you're in a vacation rental, you don't remember what the address is, and I
Yeah.
thought how do you get over that. But I suppose it's in the back end of the store. Then that's great. That's really great.
We like to say your guest is either tired or drunk or both, which not to be too much on that, but and you'll see this, the way that we've created the stores, it's very, very visual. And
Yeah,
it is button, I want this thing, which is very much how retail works is, ooh, I want this thing. And then we'll suggest something additional in checkout. Ooh, we're gonna get 4 massages. Oh, wow, we could do a guided hike around the property for herbs, right? Or we do add a few experiences, as you will see, but
Mhm.
what we tried to avoid is our ethos is we're not going to show you anything where you have to get on a bus with strangers, right?
Yeah,
Because if you look at the analog of hotels, they do this exact thing. You walk in the door, and it's a beautiful, hopefully a lovely check-in experience. And they say, would you like to add any spa services?
Mm.
We have a fantastic restaurant. Would you like a nicer room? We're doing a horseback ride tomorrow. Would you like to join? So often things that will come to the property or things that happen in a more exclusive way than a big group.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a very interesting way to look at it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more exclusive, more personal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And hotels have known this for millennia, right? And they make a full service hotel is going to make 15 to 30% of all of their revenue on the things that are not the stay.
Mm,
Yeah.
amazing. So,
Yeah.
can we have a look at what a shop looks like, please?
Yeah. So, and I think, let me see, here we go. So here is what a store looks like. Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah. So this is
So
what we'll see.
this is what a property manager will see, and I'll show you what the
Oh,
store
yeah.
looks like.
Yes.
And it looks almost exactly the same, but you can see it has
Yeah.
the image, it has signage, sales, everything you
Yeah.
need. And then when the guest looks at it, it's going to look like, I'm screen sharing, so like this. So in this store, they will have tiles, and they
Yeah.
can select options. And as a property manager, you can say, here are the options, right? You can say this is 3-day lead time, tell this person I have this many, etc. And most people, 99% of your guests are going to see this on their phone. So it's
Mhm.
very much, you can see it's big buttons, not a lot of language, right? And you can
Yeah.
select items. So everything from, I'm just going to scroll briefly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fresh flowers. If you have someone you're already connected to, like a florist who will
Yeah.
deliver, you can set up the relationship with them, and then you can also set the price for that item. So that's a pretty good
Mhm.
Item. You can also request extra insurance. You can upsell insurance, damages insurance as well, and keep
Oh,
money from that.
yeah.
And we also enable connection to outside websites. So here's an interesting issue that we've seen is people saying, oh, everyone asked me about my couch. And let's say your couch is from West Elm, right?
Yeah.
What we say is, great, find a West Elm affiliate and add a link to it, because
Yeah.
it's too specific to put in every store. But if everyone asks you about anything, put a link to it in your store, is what we always say. Put a link to it in your store. So people can go off to that, and you can make some money from that as well.
Yeah.
Let's go into a product.
In terms of a checkout, let's say they want an early checkout or early check-in, like checkout.
Hmm.
And of course, that's dependent on other bookings either end. So I did see something about a lead time. So you can
Yeah.
actually say, I can only approve this, X days.
Yeah, you can do a lead time. And with late checkout, it's an interesting one because you don't know. And sometimes you don't know until a couple of hours before, because you're thinking, oh, I hope it books later, right? Or
Yeah.
tomorrow. So if your guest requests a late checkout, if it's more than 7 days in advance, we don't hold their credit card info for more than 7 days.
Mhm.
But most people request it a couple of days in advance. So
Yeah.
if someone says, we really want a late checkout, the great thing is you also then don't get that phone call at midnight. But you add your own description, or you can use ours, which just says, hey, I need more than 12 hours notice, or I'm not going to cancel this for you because I'm doing the work.
Yeah.
Right? If
Yeah.
I'm doing the work. Here's the date that I would like this. As you can see, this doesn't have lead time on it. You can request it the same day.
Yeah.
But it is a request. So they can't just do it, right? It has to alert you to that, and then you can approve it or deny it.
Yes.
If you say, we can't do it, or what we see people doing is you can attach your cleaner. If you have a small enough organization or your cleaning company, and they can say, yes, we can do it. Right. So what you were probably doing before is texting your cleaner and saying, hey, can you move this? Right.
Yeah.
Now it can text your cleaner for you and say, Annie Sloan has asked for a late checkout, 2 hours late, approve or deny. And your cleaner, or we see for larger property management companies, they have this go to a Slack thread.
Yeah.
Where they approve or deny all of them within the Slack thread. And you can do that. You can send all the notifications to a runner, to anyone on your team, to approve or deny. So they have to agree to it. I have to log out of this store too. I'll show you what that looks like. So if they say, we really want a late checkout, it's going to log me out, but I'll show you what that looks like. I've read this.
Yeah.
We're really looking for this. The other thing is, how it says 2 hours here. Every tile, you can change it. You can say per hour. You can say 4 p.m. So you can do exactly what you want, or you can say per hour, add multiples. I want 7 of those, right? The other cool thing is, so your stores are auto-created, and they are also auto-populated with generally 4 services. US and Europe, I think there's massage and chef. And baby equipment rental. And then the alterations are already in there too. So all of this is already set up, and you just have to say, oh, I want to tweak it, or I don't want that, right?
Yeah.
Because our other sort of our ethos, I would say, our values is everything we do, it should take you less than 30 minutes to start, because all of us get hit up for software all the time. And then, as you were saying, you might go, oh, that sounds so good. Or, this is really going to solve this problem. And then you set it up for 7 hours or 15 hours, and it doesn't do exactly what you need it to do. And you've wasted all of this time. So our take on things is this has to be easy as eBay. It has to be created my stores, it created products. I'm going to modify them. I'm going to share the store.
Yeah.
And the other great part of that, it's pretty low risk because your guests are requesting. So if you're like, I want to see how it works, your guests can request items. It's not like anyone's buying a bunch of things and you're unbeknownst to you, right?
Yeah. And I suppose that's like dipping your toe in, having everything on request and actually doing it And then, even if you do one thing at a time to autopilot, then the next thing you're flying and you're not even holding the steering wheel anymore. You don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And what we say to most property managers is sell 4 things, start with 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
Because I think most property managers go, oh, you know what we should do? Or have really creative ideas about, oh, we should do a romance package with flower petals and chocolates. Yes, you should. But if you are always like, oh, we got to talk to this guy and make sure he's part of it, you'll never get started. It'll always be 10th on your list because you're a property manager.
Yeah.
Right. So if you add, I'm going to add 2 things. We have stores that sell 3 things that are making or listings $10,000 a month because they're a group of cabins on a lake. They sell firewood, they sell late checkout, they sell the occasional massage. That's it.
Incredible.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. So let me go through. If I added a card, it's going to say log out, which is just fine.
Yeah.
I read this. How payment works is you can see, okay, great. It's in my cart, and this is what's going to be seen on a phone, right? And you can see it's going to recommend additional products.
Yeah.
And if you're on a phone, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, all digital methods, your name, your email, your phone number, which is very important because our support team, if they have any questions, they will contact the guest and they'll say, hey, are you interested in, is anyone vegan, right? Or things like that. So we have support team visibility, and we also give you that information, which you might not have. So, because it might not be the person that booked, it might be someone else in the stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that is essentially it. You can see there's all of the taxes depending on where you are. Services generally don't have taxes. But you have all of this information too that you can download. And then what happens when your guest clicks yes, request this, it sends an email to them that says, great, you put your request. It sends an email to you that says you have a guest request. And if you have a third party, like your cleaner, it says you have a guest request. So your cleaner can answer it, or you can answer it and say, yes, I can do this.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. Now, in terms of the payment, you're taking the payment, and at the end of the month, we get a check, we get a deposit payout for all the sales through the month?
Yes. So exactly. This store is a fake store, but let's look and see. So you're going to see here, nothing in here. I'll show you. This has quite a few stores, few stores here. Oh, it's going to make me log in, as I said. So let's do that. All of the information, it's modeled a bit like, I'm going to see if there's a store that has some sales in it. It's modeled quite a bit like Airbnb in terms of the, in a light way, because we're not a multi-billion-dollar company yet, but you're going to see all of your sales. Mm-hmm. So every day, so all of the information about every single sale. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to see in a sales report even a receipt for every single product. So if you need to reissue a receipt, we need to look at it. And then you're also going to see your payout, which you get paid out every month. And it's going to tell you, and that you can pay out to ACH, et cetera. It's going to tell you your payout history. So if you have 10 stores, it's really, really great for property managers who might be operating or managing 30 listings. Hey, this store made this much money this month, right? Yeah. We hold the funds, and the host code is actually free to use. I should have said that at the top of the episode.
But we will get to the price later on.
Yeah.
What's that anyway?
But what happens is each month we get a small amount of commission on sales. Yeah. And then the rest you will see. I just did that kind of strangely. You will see in each one, and you can generally go into it and see what you sold and how much you were paid out at the end of the month. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now, what about things like, not complaints, but, something wasn't received, or I suppose even or there weren't any beach towels in the cupboard. I suppose all that inventory control looks after that. So you're never going to run out of something. You're going to be given the heads up, obviously with enough time to restock. So I suppose you don't really get much bad guest feedback.
Yeah, thus far, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
We have done we've been live for a little over 18 months. So we're a relatively new company. We have done over 10,000 sales at this point.
Mhm.
And because one, we don't allow on the Hostco side of vendors just say, yeah, I want to do it. We have a very thorough vetting process.
Yeah.
On the property manager side, if you're adding someone as your own vendor, so if you're adding that mobile tattoo artist, that's a really very edge example, I will say. But if you're adding someone that is your chef or your spa company that you use, that is your livelihood is your company. So you are making sure you're only using fantastic partners who
Yeah.
are already likely servicing the unit or working with your guests, so they know the system really well.
Yeah.
We do see, I would say, more than any complaints is people who cancel. So, hey, I canceled my stay. Each product has a cancellation policy. And we do, if someone contacts us and says, hey, I'm not going on the trip in 2 months, I'm not going to need that massage. We just have because we do everything through Stripe, it's essentially a refund process.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there is a knock-on effect, I suppose, but yes. Okay, as long as they get a refund, there is a cancellation policy for each experience. Then yeah, and
Yes.
they'd obviously have to tick the box when they buy it.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, all covered.
Yeah, and it's essentially you're as the property manager recommending services. So it creates a buffer between you. This is an interesting one, between you and your guest in a certain way, because it's not you as a person saying, oh, this is the spa we use. And then you have if they don't love their massage, it's about you versus the host co becomes this buffer. Same thing with denying a late checkout or an extra guest or something like that. We send an email that says, hey, we're sorry, that service is unable to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
So it doesn't reflect as much on your services and maybe even your review, because it's a company and not a person.
Yeah.
It's an interesting kind of side effect.
Okay, but the thing is, can we go back to the store?
Yeah.
That the guest sees.
So we'll go back to, we'll do a different store just for fun here. Let's do this guy.
Okay, so the thing is, the thing with the host co up the top there, no, they're not seeing that. Can we see the guest view? I just want to see about branding. So the host co is not written anywhere. Hang on.
The host co on a phone, I wish I had my phone with me, is on a phone. It's a tiny little dot that's an H at the top.
Yeah.
So they do not see our logo.
Yeah.
They see essentially this, where it says our downtown villa, and you can add your description. We do include in the footer, which I'm going to go down to the footer.
Yeah.
This one has a lot of experiences in it, but we do include the host co in the footer. You can actually upgrade and remove the host co branding from almost all of the store. You can have your own URL that says, great property management, host co store 17, right? But the reason why we have our information here is because if there are questions regarding the product, we don't want that to go to you, or if there's support needs, or if your massage therapist is in West Hollywood and they can't find a place to park. Right. We want them to be able to say to you, hey, I'm still looking for parking. Right. We also have on the guest side and the host side, the information that says, hey, are you a guest? If you have questions about check-in time, about if you need help with your booking, contact your host. So that this store can answer any questions about this, but this prevents us from the crossover of we are your host. Yeah. Right. So we're not trying to be your host.
Yeah. So by having that host co at the top there, they know that they're actually booking through host co and they're not going to hassle the property manager.
Yes. And the email is going to come from the host co.
Yeah.
Again, if we have enterprise clients where they've added the name of their property management company, amenities provided by the host co. Yeah. But again, if we're providing them, we don't want to bother you with something that you might not even need to know about, right? You might probably want to know about it, but you're going to get emails, but essentially saying, great, hands off. We know you're doing this thing and we just made $30 off of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Looks great.
Yeah.
don't think I have any more questions about it. It all looks very, very good. You can create your own listings and you've got the already. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's I will say a couple more things about this is that you can remove items. So this is a really busy test store. So we're just going to look at all of these. So let's go to back to maybe Mexico Townhouse. This is so fun to see all of these. Lakeside Summer Cabin. There we go. You can move things around. So you can drag and drop them as of this week. You can say, I don't want anyone to see this. You can remove them. You can add, there's a lot of bells and whistles that you can do that make it for, we have people, all they do is sell Christmas ornaments, which is so strange to me, but that's what they wanted to do, right? Good on them. We have
Yeah.
people that only use it for food services, right?
You
We
know,
have people that only use it for alterations. So it's very flexible for, some people are like, oh, it just works for that one thing I needed, right?
it was a number of years ago. I remember having a chat with someone and we were trying to figure out a way. How do we stock a place full of alcohol that they have to buy it to take it? But they were like, how do we do this? It can't be an honesty system. Oh my God. And we can't leave it to the cleaners to check the inventory and, how do we do this? And you could have a cupboard full of wine and, here's the access and obviously you could check with the inventory at the end of the stay. But how convenient would that be? Like you were saying, 1 o'clock in the morning, we run out of wine. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and in Europe here, we cannot sell alcohol in stores because we can't verify your age. We do work with verification partners, but even then, but we do have people who have runners or someone on your team or a college student or whoever who's saying, I want to make extra money.
Yeah.
And because it's reserved in advance, they can say, do an alcohol run for us, right? You're of age, we'll check your ID.
Yeah.
And do that. Or there's quite a few services that will deliver to that area. For my own rentals, I don't do any service where someone has to get into the rental before the guests, because that is a pain.
Yeah.
Locks, etc. So
Yeah.
I'll say, okay, great. I'm sending the store if you want alcohol delivery, if you want, there are things on site, like we do see people including extra cleaning products for midterm and long-term stay that you can buy, firewood, etc. But purchase these things and you as the guest set the delivery time for right when you want to arrive, right? Or 2 hours after you arrive, and you no longer, again, asking us.
Yeah.
For it.
Yeah. Oh, the Advil, I thought, oh yeah, that reminds me of hangovers because you had hangover packages. Now, is that one of your standards? Is that a supplier that gives you these hangover packages?
So we don't at the host co provide any products. The services we do provide, but what we say, which is this store is interesting because the Advil, what I would normally say to any property manager is have a branded something to your listing. So you can go on eBay or Etsy or anywhere and say wedding emergency kit and slap your sticker on it. And if you have 30 hangover kits, you can sell them for, let's say, $25, right? Generally, I say sell more expensive products. If you sell something under, this is an interesting story. If you sell something under $20, unless you're a lower, if you're a hostel, go ahead and sell anything you want. But at higher end properties, have a package of something, or have a basket of local snacks. Right. And also give, again, a welcome basket for free. If you have a higher end property, give it for free. When they ask, oh, do you have a second one of those? Guess what? You likely already do because your cleaner is putting it out. You can sell that for $80. It can be in your store, additional welcome basket. So making less work for yourself, not having tons of things to restock. In my own properties, I don't sell any items on site because I live, my properties are in Joshua Tree. I am a 7-hour drive away from my properties. I have a property manager, but it's too much work for me. So my own properties, I have all of those services and amenities, and that's services and amenities that will go to the house and alterations. But we have people who do have, because they live right on site, they have lots of things for sale on site, but generally you're also going to make a lot more money from the services.
Yeah.
And people are going to take a photo of a hangover kit if it's branded to your listing and they're going to share it.
Yeah.
That's the other part.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's really
Yeah.
great. Okay. We'll stop with the share screen and we'll get back to the other questions.
There we go.
What is your unique selling point?
Two things. One, we are free. We are free to start, free to use. I think all of us just get hit up for software all the time, and it has huge onboarding fees, and it also has subscription fees. So the host co, how it works is we get a percent of the commission of sales. So we get 7% of all the sales. If it is our vendor, we mark it up slightly as well. So there's zero risk is the other thing, because if you're not selling something, you're not losing any money. The second really unique value is, so my background prior to the host co, I was a creative director at Facebook, and prior to that, I was a creative director at Twitter. I'm just a Silicon Valley eye roll individual, like, but what we've created is something that is so easy to use for your guests and for you as well, that your guests look at it and go, yep, I wanted that. You know, I was thinking about that. We want girls' dinner for 8. We want a Reiki healer to come to the property. Great. I did these things and I'm done. Right. And that is the true thing, is removing a lot of that friction and the time for you. So just kind of set it, you know, I think a lot of people say set it and forget it, but set it and don't think about it a lot is what we
Yeah. And that payout, going back to the payouts, when the guest buys something, you hang on to it until the end of the month, and then there's the payout at the end of the month. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah. And how that works, if it is your product, if it is the property manager's product, that's something like firewood, late checkout, or anything that you are setting up, you are setting the price for that. So you could say, my sister will do a tiki bar by the pool, and she'll be the bartender, and I'm going to pay my sister $100, and I'm going to charge $300. So you're making a large profit on that. Or a popular one in many beaches is portrait family photography. Everyone wants their holiday photos and their matching outfits, or, you know, depends on where you live in the world. But so you can say, my sister, I'm just using my sister as a relational, you know, is a portrait photographer. I'm going to pay her $200 and I'm going to charge $400. So you can make quite a bit of money with your own services. And again, we pay that out at the end of the month. If it is a host co service, like the host co is recommending a spa service, you are getting 5 to 10% of that sale as the property manager. So at the end of the month, we go, oh, you sold 17 massages, you're going to get $400, $500 just for essentially recommending that service.
Yeah. But back to the sister being the photographer, $200 to the photographer, $200 to the property manager. Do you pay the photographer then, and then you pay out the $200 to the property manager?
If it is your vendor, like the portrait photographer, we pay you, the property manager. And then you pay the third party vendor. And the reason that we do that is because we are not, we have very little visibility into that vendor. So we are not going to pay out someone we don't know, that we haven't approved for, you know, everything.
It's not like you set them up. It's not like the property manager sets them up as a vendor. The property manager is selling this service, and it's up to me then to split the costs with my vendor.
Although we have a huge queue, I don't want to say huge, but of people who say, can you bring this vendor on for this whole city? And then we do pay them out. And that's actually how we scale quickly, is because we look at vendors that are selling well in thousands of areas, and we say, you know, that portrait photographer is doing really well, and we'd like to be available for the whole city. So then we will call them and we'll say, do you have a business license? Do you have insurance? Are you vetted? And we will then put them into the whole city, and that's bringing a lot more money to them. So all of these new guests get to see who they are and what they do. So that's how we can grow quickly, and we don't have to go and scout in any city vendors.
Fantastic. Yeah. Now, given that it's a free service, who's your target audience? It's basically anyone with one property.
Yeah, I mean, it's nicer for us if someone has more properties.
Uh,
Um,
yes.
but it is usable if you have one property. I would say in terms of really big property managers, there's things probably that you still want from it, like you would like it to connect directly into your QuickBooks, which it doesn't. But we
Mhm.
do have users, I think 400 doors is our largest,
Mhm.
because it does spit out reports for your CSV reports for everything.
Yeah.
But anyone can use it. What we see more of lately is larger property managers connecting to the host code through their PMS, if it's guesty or hospitable or owner res, and saying, great, make my 30 stores, and then add this product into every single store. And that's a huge one. And then it's just done for you. And if you have a property management software, generally it will also send that link into it. So when you're writing a message, or if you have your booking confirmation message, you can just say, add my host co-store link within this message.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the PMS connection, what you're saying is that you automatically can create shops for all of your listings on the PMS.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And then each one has a photo, it has a name, it has the address.
Yeah.
So again, it's the idea of let's just remove all this work that we don't need to do.
Yeah. 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 Oh, fantastic. But ideally, who is your target audience? How big?
I would say 20 listings, 10 to 20 listings is probably the real sweet spot, because you still have a lot of control over all of your views. If you have 50 listings and you're getting 50 requests for late checkout a day, you're gonna have to go through and say approve every one of them, or maybe if you have someone in your office, but that's really the sweet spot.
Yeah.
I would say between 1 and 25 is probably the sweetest spot.
Yeah.
One other thing that I want to mention that I didn't about the cost is that how we make money is we get that 7% commission, right? But we also add an 8% convenience fee for your guest. So if you're selling late checkout for $100, we're going to get we're going to add $8. So your guest is going to pay $108. Guests generally, it's convenience. So they thus far have really not minded, right? And that's how we're able to operate for free, and cover all the visa charges and all the tax calculations, etc.
Yes, absolutely. Now, also, I could see you only operate in the US at the moment.
We operate internationally. We have users in Iceland and Spain and France, but the really funny part is that we are currently only in US dollars. So no, we are not, I'm going to say air quotes, operational outside of the US, because it's only USD. But next year we will be adding, or hopefully later this year, multi-currency. And we use Stripe as our partner, so they can do the tax calculations also on multiple currencies. It's a good feeling, I would say, as a founder, that people want to use this badly enough, which is phenomenal, that they're using it in so many places, even in US dollars. I'm like, I wouldn't think someone in Italy would be selling their own cookbooks and guided tours, right, in US dollars. So very soon, I will say we will be getting there. The next thing we're adding before that is more property manager tools for reporting to your users, and better texting, and then multi-currency.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah,
Yes.
amazing. Now, it's free, it's quick to set up, so I'm assuming there's no contract.
Correct. There's no contract. You can go to our website, thehost.co, and say, start my stores. We always recommend, and it'll say you should do a demo or a QA session. We do daily QA, because there's so many bells and whistles that if you just go and start a store, you're probably going to miss a lot of the cool things it can do. But you can still just say, nope, I don't want a demo. Make me 10 stores for my listings, and I'm going to go poke around and look at them.
Fantastic. Oh,
yeah.
Great. Okay. We've come to the end of the usual questions. Was there something that we missed, or something else we should know about the host code that we haven't touched on?
The one thing that everyone asks, how much money can I make?
Yeah.
Which I think is an important question. Most listings, I'm going to say the average is about $200 per listing additionally. And that average is low. And that's honest answer, because some people are only selling, Christmas ornaments, and they're making $50 a month. And then we also have listings that are making $4,000 a month because they are renting a kayak, they are renting a bike. Each guest is going to buy a late checkout, right? So it just really depends on how you use it, is how much money you make. We had a guest the other day purchase $3,600 in amenities in one go, which is, hey, we have a chef's dinner for 4, we have 4 massages, and we have a guided hike, right? So you see these huge purchases and these small purchases.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, we've also, there's so much variety in the industry. You've got small studios, you've got the big, big mansion houses, and there's so much variety. So in terms of, I actually think that's a trick question. How much can I make? Well, how big is your property? How many people stay? Or what's the budget?
Yeah.
But I love the fact that, like you said, it's not that you forget about it, but you don't have to think about it too often.
Yeah.
Set it up, let it run, and get the payment from the host co every month. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ooh, that's extra money that came in. We also see property managers do it a little differently. Some take in all the host co money and then remit a portion of it to their owner. That's another big question. How does the owner get money? We have property managers that say, I'm running this guest experience. I'm keeping all of these profits because I am the one doing the guest experience.
Yeah.
And then we also have property managers that say, hey, owner, I'm actually going to invoice you for a little less money. So it makes me more competitive because I'm making all of this other money from the host co.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Look, Annie, it has been an absolute pleasure learning about the host co. I've heard a bit about it. I just wasn't quite sure what exactly you offer, but what a great product.
Thank you. It's been a very fun journey, and leaving tech in 2021, I am, it's been so much fun. Also, I mean, this is my people. So it's fantastic to talk with you.
Yeah, great. Well, I will pop a link in the description below. And if you have any questions for Annie, pop them in the comments below. Annie, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day or evening.
Yeah, thank you. And have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to catch up on ones you've missed, just head to thetechexplainedseries.com. Or if you're short for time, you can head to thetechminis.com, where you'll find extra short interviews. See you next time.